where they were, and just instantly seeing people go from here to,
Here?
Yeah.
We're here to here?
Yeah. Well, maybe down there. Just more grounded, and it's almost magical to watch that because, really that focus of the need really it helped me to see it time and time again how that can affect a scene over and over again. But also personally, just understanding what that really feels like and understanding it on that level rather than even a verbal level. So I'm just so grateful that you were in there in such an intense way. Wherever it was needed, each person got that attention. So, thank you.
It's just so clear to me. I mean, there are all kinds of ways you can approach the work, all kinds of things, methods, all kinds of things, and none of them that I've ever seen are invalid. You can get something from everybody's thinking about the work and the work they do. But I just think it's simple. I really do. It's not easy, but it's simple. It's just like people, really. They're very complicated, but basically they're human beings that operate in a particular way, and it's pretty direct and straightforward. And they operate off of things that drive them forward in their lives, things that they want, that they need. That's what you're here today because you had a need to be satisfied. You're here today and yesterday. And if being here wasn't the satisfaction of that need, you wouldn't have been here. You would have been somewhere else satisfying another need somewhere else. And if you take a look at your life, everything you do in your life, and I mean everything you do in your life, is driven by a need to be satisfied. Not life and death, necessarily, but some things are wants, but even a want can be looked at as a need at a point. So I think it's just like life, it's no different. And so when you get up to work, if all of a sudden you get into acting mode, you're no longer being in the moment. If you can just be in the moment and you take what you need to get from the person that you're connected with in the scene, it gives you everything that you need to do the work. Which is, I'm okay with not knowing how the next moment's going to go. I'm okay with that. In fact, that's what I'm inviting by being in this place. So again, for me, the only way you get into that place is by not being focused here. If you're focused out there, something just happened. And that's a surprise. So what I'm calling this acting outside the box, expect the unexpected, I really think that's what you've got to demand of yourself. And for me, that's taking it to the next level in the work. So, and improvisation is all about that, being okay with not knowing what's coming next and being able to roll with it. There's actually a book I'm writing, 2 books I'm writing. One's called Roll With It, and one's called How Not to Make a Movie. And I'm basing that on my experience of making my movies. But rolling with it is really what it's about. You learn your lines, you make your choices, and then you connect with the person you're in the work with, and you let it happen. Just let it happen. So anyway, glad you got that out of it. Anybody else, anything you want to say?
I'd like to say something. So one of the really nice takeaways I have from this is it's really simple. I'm coming in with my own stories, my own issues, my own judgment thing. We'll walk into the space, I look at you, I notice your eyes, I picture your shirt, I see your button. And so when I'm in that space, I come into your space and I start looking at you, noticing things about you to get myself back into the place of becoming interested. Yeah, that's a super takeaway for me, becoming interested.
Yeah, or even becoming interested, just noticing something in the other person. you know, if you ever become aware of the fact that you're thinking about you, if you're nervous, whatever, all you have to do is look at something and see the way the light's shining off the bracelet on your wrist. Now I'm over there. My attention is focused outside of myself, and that can reconnect me into my need to be satisfied through you. So it happens with every actor. You can't, it's very challenging to not at some point become self-conscious, even for a moment or two. And all you have to do is be aware of that and refocus your attention outside of yourself in whatever way it happens. Okay? And that is simple. It really is simple. And that generates the rest of the work. Good. Anybody else, anything?
I have a question. How do you think does this apply exactly the same, would you say, to like scripted comedy? Would you say this approach is exactly the same? I mean, when there's jokes that you have to hit and beats that you have to kind of punch or whatever, do you think there's like a difference there, or do you think that it's kind of just the same thing, or?
Well, I think that my opinion is that all the work needs to be real.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even the most outrageous comedy. You know, I think about sitcoms. I think about, you know, Married with Children. You know, that was the weirdest show that ever hit TV when it hit. And but the thing is, all the characters are real. All the sitcoms that are good, no matter how out there they are, all the characters live in a reality. You know, stand-up comedy is about bada boom, bada boom, bada boom. You know, it's got that kind of a formula to it, but still, the good stuff is real. It's all real. And if you are doing stand-up comedy, you know, it's about making a connection with your audience. I really mean making a connection. You know, like making a connection to any kind of performing you're doing. You know, stage requires less of this really coming from the heart. It's more acceptable to being over the top. But the good work, the good stage work is all based in that real connection and reality as well. Whether it's comedy or it's drama. Again, this is all in our opinion. But yeah, so the answer for me would be yes, although there are so many different techniques for doing sitcom, for doing stand-up comedy, for doing commercials. You know, you said something about, you know, you do get your needs satisfied with commercials. You have to, because you're selling something. You want people to buy something that works. So you don't want to leave people with, oh fuck, I didn't get it. I don't want it now, you know. This is what I'm doing now. I'm buying this cereal. This makes my life work. So, you know, there's formulas for everything, but it's always got to be real. And the way that it gets real is to forget about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, makes sense?
Yeah.
So always use this method. Never use anything else. Nothing else works.
I think things are different. I know on the commercial side, there is a difference versus an audition for a TV series or a feature film or whatever. There is definitely a difference when you're in it. You know, my audition for the TLC completely was different than when I was actually on the set. You know, I had someone starting my chainsaw for me, followed me around. We decided we would be really good at the next Chainsaw Massacre movie.
Mm-hmm.
I would kill the people and he would start the chainsaw for me, you know. And so, but he would drop it and then they tell me, you know, I was given direction. Oh, you know, you're gonna walk over here and you're gonna do this, and they had a board up on the appliance that I was literally cutting into. But when you see the commercial, it looks like I'm cutting into the refrigerator. So there's all this other stuff going on. There's very technical things going on. But still, when and I had to look like, because the theme of the commercial was, you don't know that hard water destroys your appliances. That's the idea that we're trying to get across. So I was supposed to kind of like be, not happy-go-lucky, but this sort of nonchalant, you know, I'm just dusting the furniture. But at the same time, I'm destroying this appliance.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm dressed in a pencil skirt, my hair is all up. My look is certainly not construction. I look like I'm going to work. So there's these alternating views.
Yeah.
So it was different, and then I had to listen to what the director was telling me, and then still apply, well, what am I doing? And so I kept thinking about, what's my story? Well, I'm a housewife, I need to go get my son as soon as I'm done cleaning the house. Because it was a normal daily kind of thing. So it wasn't this huge, strong, oh my gosh need, but I still gave myself this need. I need to be doing these things, so that I was as I went and walked around the little area they wanted me to walk around, and just do it.
Mm.
And so there's a difference that I feel in a commercial versus something like this. It's very different.
I never, and I know you didn't mean this, but this was not meant to be a class about commercials.
No, I
I
understand
know
that.
you didn't mean that.
Right.
So I'm in agreement with you. This, everything about acting, again, for me, is all about reality. Let's make it truthful. So that applies for commercials as well. There's certainly a different way to approach dealing with commercials. The thing that I want you to come away with this weekend is clearly to get that if you're ever being self-conscious, you're going to be acting. A way to avoid being self-conscious is focusing your attention outside of yourself. How do you focus your attention outside of yourself? By establishing a need to be satisfied through someone outside of yourself. A need that's important, a need that you have a reason as to why it's important, a need that has an urgency attached to it, a need that has a consequence attached to not getting the need satisfied that you've got to be unwilling to accept. If you walk out of here with those things clear in your mind, then what you'll wind up, and it doesn't just happen just like this, but you'll wind up in a place where you'll step in front of the cameras for an audition, and you'll be able to be there without giving a shit about what anybody else thinks about the work you're doing. You'll be able to be there without caring, because you won't be focused on yourself. It's only when you're focused on yourself that you care about what other people think. Now, I don't want you to care at all. I'm really interested in you having an experience every time you work. And that experience is, wow, I still feel sad. I gotta do something with it. Or I'm really excited, or I'm really angry, or whatever. I'm out of breath because I've just had an experience. And I don't remember anything about it, but I just had an experience. And you don't remember it because you weren't paying attention to yourself. So, and to be really clear with yourself that when you're standing outside of the room before you go in for the audition, you're in prep mode. You're going over everything you need to remind yourself of. The life you built for the character, the relationship, all these things. You can live in that stuff when you're outside of the room. When the door opens up and you step into the room, there's only one thing that's there for you. I need you to. That's it. That's all there is. You trust that everything else is in place, because if you've done your work, it will be in place. I want it to be really simple for you. I want it to be a handle for you. And no matter who's over there next to that camera, who's running the camera, who's doing the lines, whoever it might be, that's your target. That's your partner. That's your dance partner. Dance with them. Have them dance with you. Okay? You're not a victim to somebody who didn't get any sleep last night, who doesn't care about the work they're doing, who's a bad reader, who all this stuff. You're not a victim. You're never a victim to any of that. You are in charge. Okay? And you gotta walk in with that. So do the work on this stuff, and that's what will happen. I guarantee it. Or your money back. Or something like that. Good. Okay, before we show this next thing, I'm giving privates while I'm here because I'm not doing a class at this stage in time. I may do other workshops, but I thought I'd put some flyers together. You're welcome to take them with you. For everybody who's in the workshop, it's the way it goes is 50% off of the first private you do, and if you're in the workshop, it's 10% off for everyone you do after that. It's just for the workshop. So if you need it at any point in time, feel free to call me. We'll set up. I do Skype privates as well. That's the only selling I'm doing today. So, if you don't have anything else you want to say, can we turn this around?
Yes, we can.
And if you want to see